good time.
Yeah, that's funny. How did you, this is a little bit of a transition, but how did you end up getting into becoming a master trainer? I mean, should we bow to you? Almost like a not, I wouldn't say it's on the corporate end of working at Equinox, but being a trainer, having a full schedule, and then also being called in to be a master trainer and do some education and things like that. How'd you end up like that? Because
so I guess going back when I first started, I was in the same boat as everyone else. I was just a trainer who was hungry, and was able to build up my schedule pretty quickly. But the 1 year came around and I made a goal for myself to step outside the comfort zone. One of my friends from college, he's been, traveling the country, going to college, and speaking about stepping outside of people's comfort zones. So that year I made that my goal. So what I did was I did some group fitness because I never was, a boasty type of guy to get up in front of a crowd and be rah rah. I was always just like grit and just work hard, effort. So at the time I was training Rocky, who's the group fitness manager of 3 clubs on Long Island, and she kind of helped boost me into that studio. I did that for about a year, and the opportunity came around where there was an opening for master instructor for Equinox. And I felt like, I was comfortable where I was. I needed a little bit more motivation involved. So I applied for that and I was able to get in.
So the group fitness part of it, you didn't absolutely love it, but you felt like it got you out of your comfort zone, brought you to another level. And even though it wasn't something you really felt like you were going to continue doing, it may have led you to something else that was more challenging.
Absolutely, that you hit it right in the head. It wasn't something that I was so excited to do, but I just felt like I needed to do it in order to excel or kind of progress in my career. Just move myself forward in what I want to do. So that kind of got me started into just keeping that mindset of stepping outside my comfort zone, being okay with failing, being okay with feeling, nervous about what I'm going to do. It was definitely something that kind of just pushed me forward into my career. But back to this master instructor thing, it's evolved. I mean, when I first started, Rich was even in my class, and
yeah. When I went from my tier 3 at Equinox, you were the instructor. Actually, that was a good time. I thought you did a great job with it.
And I think that was one of my first rounds teaching. And even myself being a trainer for, at the time, maybe 6 years. Rich has been a trainer his whole life, so it's like, how is someone like myself going to be able to teach someone who basically has double the experience, triple the experience of what I have? So I liked that arrangement where, I was in front of everyone trying to learn at the same time as teach them. So I guess Rich can speak more from the other side of things, how someone new who is a teacher can maybe help them learn more about or see a different side of things for training.
So it's funny, when I was doing the different tiers, going through Equinox's schooling to move up tier levels, there's a lot of different instructors and they teach it very, very differently. So everybody has their style of training. When I did the tier 3, and Scott doesn't do every single one of them. They work around their schedule. So whoever's available for that certain topic. But the days that Scott was the instructor, it was fun because Scott is teaching the class, but he doesn't take that role of, I'm the teacher, everybody listen to me, I'm over you thing. It actually was fun because Scott we had a lot of newer people in the training business that were in that class. And like Scott said, I had already been a trainer for about 20 years at that time. So it was fun because he would we would actually kind of talk and almost,
yeah.
So Scott would talk about a certain topic, and he would actually ask me my opinion on what I thought. And I actually thought it was a really fun way for not only myself, but the rest of the people to learn, because it wasn't just one instructor talking down on everybody. It was kind of just a couple people just conversing and talking about different things, which makes it, for me, a better way to learn than to just have somebody, lecture to me. I like it more of like a conversation.
Well, that goes back to what I always say is that, I know places like, well, I don't think any big gym besides Equinox really goes into the depth of education. So I know they're teaching incredible stuff. I know they're teaching really great information. It just comes down to, can that information be transferred onto the gym floor? And I think I think it is. That's probably the hardest thing to follow up on, is that you're getting good information in the classroom. Can you execute and have a good, solid strength training program with other elements of conditioning? How did you find, like, you brought a lot of people through some of the tiers, and you see some people kind of get it, some people don't. But then you'll see you see trainers on the floor that are really great that weren't great in a class, and then you see other trainers that were so good academically, and you see them on the floor, and you're like, "What are you doing? What are you doing? You gotta,
Well, exactly. I mean, it goes a few ways. My goal for the class is that, I'm a trainer, so I'm not just a master instructor like a few other of the teachers. So I'm in the same shoes as you guys. This is how I talk to them. So, what I'm trying to portray to the students and everyone in the class is that, try and make this as practical as possible. Try and bring this right to the gym floor. So within the classrooms, we'll walk onto the gym floor and kind of show exactly what we're talking about in the class. Later on the week, I'll ask the students, I'll say, hey, did anyone try what we learned this week? And the best part is seeing someone raise their hand and be like, yeah, it worked with this client. You should have seen it. And, that actually makes me feel great. It's something that it's a different feeling than just training with our clients. So if I feel as if I'm able to help other clients in a much more broader spectrum. I just want to make sure this is working.
I know. And then just
I'm seeing the green, which is good. I think that me talking in the green it's going on.
We're technical difficulties because when I'm talking,
I think it is working.
We'll find out afterwards. We'll give it a quick listen before we post it up.
Yeah. I mean, I can see the green. So whenever you go in, it's a little bit higher in the red, which is fine. But I think we're doing good.
All right, we'll figure it out.
Long story short, though, what Ross was trying to say is, I see a lot of different trainers coming in and out, and I feel like I'm a great reader. I can read people very well, and just from the start, I could tell if someone's gonna be a great trainer or not.
Yeah, I agree with that, actually.
For example, like Freddie came in, and he was gung ho, and he crushed it. He started crushing it, and he was doing really well, and he still is. And you could just see it in him that he was hungry for clients. He was hungry to help people. But let's get back to what Ross was saying. Can these people keep these programs, the right type of programs, and train their clients the right way?
Yeah.
Well, I think a mentorship program is like huge when it comes to making for a good trainer, because sometimes we almost give too much room to explore. And listen, if it takes you 20 minutes to set up for a circuit, and the circuit is like a 7-minute circuit, maybe there's something wrong there. Or if the circuit actually takes 10 minutes to get through, that. Anyway, what I'm saying is that there has to be checks and balances. Mm-hmm. And, we always say the fundamental is strength solves everything. So if you're a new trainer starting out, keep it simple. Just get people stronger. If you do circuit work, push them through simple circuits. Don't get too complex. Mm-hmm. Work on what the person needs to work on, And generally speaking, if it's someone who needs to lose weight, or if it's, a young athlete, just getting stronger will help everything get better. And that's That's nothing crazy. That's what they're teaching. How you go about it can vary depending on what each individual needs.
I mean, I think that most athletes or clients anyway need to improve strength overall. So if you got to have some form of strength program in there. If you're lifting 5-10 pounds and you're doing lunges with 5-10 pounds and they can do that all day, you're not getting shit done. I mean, nothing is changing. And I'm sure you guys can argue that all day. Obviously, we want to keep everything formed the right way and keep our clients safe. But that's the idea here is we want to get our clients strong, healthy, and educated. There's nothing worse than you going away and your client walking around the gym like a chicken on their head, off their head, and they don't know what to do. I mean, yeah, I get it. Clients could be with you 4-5 times a week, but if you're not there and they don't know what to do, what's the point in training them,
To add to that, so what Scott was just saying about it, if you go away and your client's in the gym by himself, if you don't set your client up where they can do their workout without you sitting there and babysitting them the entire time, your job was not done properly. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I feel like trainers want to do with a client what the trainer wants to do for themselves, and that's not your best interest for your client. Yes, circuits are fun, and jumping around the gym is fun, and box jumps they're fun. But if you can't squat properly and squat under load, you should not be doing box jumps yet.
That's a simple example. What
are you talking about, Rich? I saw it on Instagram. That's what I'm supposed to be doing.
If you see it on Instagram, then it's definitely something that you
definitely got to be true, right? Well, what do you think about all that craziness?
No, we'll get into that. We'll get into that later down the road. I think we have actually an entire topic on that. Actually, I think we're going to get into it later on today.
Yeah.
But with the whole circuit thing, or I don't know, I guess throwing these workouts at people that make people think that they're, you're doing all this stuff and looks cool and it's so complicated. But at the same time, is it complicated for a good reason, or is it complicated for, just something to show off in the gym? But again, is this a circuit that the person can do? If you're not there, can they do this circuit on their own? And should they be doing it on their own? So that's something that we talk about.
This all goes back to how great the education is in Equinox. I remember when I first went through it, I was like, wow, these guys are better than the professors in my college. And you two guys are like the strength program professors here. So you guys know exactly how to make the most perfect programs. But when it comes down to it, the education, as Ross was saying way before, Equinox gives is bar none, probably the best in the industry. And we are striving to get our students and our trainers to program and write programs and give their clients the best experience possible and safest.
And I think that is, I made a joke about Instagram, but I think social media is a huge part of why you get so much craziness in the gym. 100%. And even trying to get new trainers to concentrate on program design, but then flipping through their phone for an hour a day, seeing all these crazy exercises and cool workouts that look awesome. And there's no doubt they do, but getting like kind of conflicted ideas on what they should do. Because what you have to remember is a lot of the people on Instagram don't go through extensive educations. They're maybe people that, there's a lot of instances of people that are kind of already fit, really don't have the science behind program design, but they're very ambitious. They get a good marketing agency to sign up. They get a few thousand followers and they start selling their program, which is based off nonsense. I mean, Scott, you have quite a few Instagram followers.
That was like a past life when I first started Equinox. But I will get into it a little bit and explain kind of where I'm coming from and how I feel about it.
I mean, can you tell us anything about, what do you have, around 30,000 followers?
Maybe right underneath, but it was up and down, but it's right around 30,000 followers. And if you want to look at it, I honestly think that nowadays we're going to start seeing a lot more trainers come in who want to boast and show a lot of what they see online, and a lot of their programs will look kind of crazy because of what they found on the internet. And we're here to kind of nix that and nip it in the butt and say, let's get back to what real programming is. It's not about what looks good. It's what gets our clients in the right direction.
It's funny. So all three of us know there's another guy in this industry who's a phenomenal trainer. He used to be a trainer for Equinox, and I think he actually holds the record for the most training sessions done over like a 1 year period. Ross, I'm talking about Denny. So
he was trainer of the year 1 year, maybe 2005 or something like that. The most sessions in the entire company.
I think he was averaging right around 200 sessions a month for like a year straight.
Yeah, it was.
We're talking about hour sessions. I know a lot of other gyms do like half.
Yeah.
We're talking about hour
those are
sessions.
200-hour sessions.
That's a lot of time.
So I work. He has a private gym now, and I do some stuff out of that gym as well. But he always he's like Ross and I, where we are. We're a little older in this business. We're all. Well, I'm going to be 45 soon, and Ross is 40, and Denny is almost 40. But so we're older in this business, and we don't have we're not the Facebook and Instagram media savvy guys. But Denny will always say, well, if you didn't post it on your Instagram, then it didn't actually happen. So he's very famous for that. But yeah, getting back to the whole Instagram craze is I feel like, and this isn't with everybody, but a lot of people now, it's not how good of a trainer you are, it's how many followers you can get. And if you can get those followers on your Instagram page and, spew out your information to them with whatever it is, whether you're selling something or you're giving them a regurgitated program, whatever it is, if people see those followers, wow, this person has 50,000 followers, then they definitely know what they're doing. And it's funny because here's me and Ross who've been doing this for a long, long time. And I think if you add up our two Instagram pages, I think we have a combined 600 or 700 followers combined. So
that'll change over time.
But maybe not. I'm not so good at the whole.
I've been breaking it down. I've been thinking about it lately, and I've been breaking it down to like there's nonsense on Instagram, and that's basically your booty, boobs, and Botox and gym sharks, right? That equals nonsense and BS, right? That's a big portion. I mean, I laugh when I see how many followers some of these posts get, but whatever. That's just what it is. It makes no sense to complain about it. So there is like nonsense. It's just recognizing that nonsense. Then there is like some incredibly good quality posts from, I always say Strength Sensei, which you know about Strength Sensei?
No.
So Strength Sensei is Charles Poliquin, which sadly, this guy is 57 years old, probably the most educated and well-read conditioning coach, over 800 athletes, 22 gold medalists, and he just passed away of a heart attack. So tragic. Just a super smart, influential strength coach. So sad to see him go. Who knows, for whatever reason, that doesn't even pay to like speculate. But yeah, really sad. But his Strength Sensei Instagram is still going, even though he passed away. So just great stuff on there. And I mean, you probably could list off 20 other sites that are good, and maybe we should. But then, where it gets confusing is there are people on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, which is a whole other story because, extending the time of the video makes a big difference. Mm-hmm. But the blurred lines people, the people that post like kind of ridiculous stuff, but are very educated, very smart, and may actually have a good product that they sell, but their posts are kind of not
misleading.
Great.
They're misleading, I guess. I would say that, like we said before, their posts are to boast and show exactly how cool the post could possibly be. Yet we probably know they're a little bit more educated in the, behind the scenes of things. What are they actually doing, like for their actual workouts? Probably not what they're posting. And that's kind of what we're trying to get at, is that people are scrolling and swiping through all day long, seeing these outrageous posts, and it's not really what people are doing in the gym.
Can you think of anyone specific?
I know we spoke about this, that Kaiser Fit chick, she smiles in every video doing
Beast. She's a beast.
She's an outrageous girl. This girl could do literally anything I've ever seen. But is she doing that day in and day out? Probably not. You know, she's making sure she's setting up this most perfect, you know, pose for a video. But is she doing that for her real workouts? Who knows? But what she's trying to do is make sure that people see it, because people don't react to someone just lunging with a weight in their hand.
No.
People are not reacting with the most simple exercise, which is what they're probably doing in the background. But that's kind of what we're getting at, is that people are so conditioned to see or try and react to something outrageous that everyone tries to one-up the next person. And it's gotten so crazy to the point where, like, people are just challenging other people to do something outrageous, and they're not really getting anything done in the gym.
Yeah, agreed. I think not only with workouts, I think it's actually getting that way with diets a little bit too. People are getting so confused with, I mean, Instagram and Facebook are crushing people with, you know, the whole food thing now, with pictures of food and diets and all this stuff. And is it causing more confusion, or is it helping people out? You know, who knows? And so I think the whole exercise and food kind of go hand in hand with social media.
Mm-hmm. I think what it comes down to is really just making sure we're educating our clients and making sure they're understanding what is true, what is real, and what is BS.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. What, you know, that's why maybe it's better to follow people on Instagram where they have a podcast and they're actually explaining themselves, where they have videos that they're not afraid to post, and not everything is exclusive content you have to pay for. You could see what these people are actually doing, because what you're taught in marketing seminars is that social media is supposed to be just endless content for you to connect to your people and show them who you are. Mm-hmm. What you end up selling to them, if it's a program design, should not be so far-fetched from that. But what's happened is that, you know, everyone's numb to just seeing the most insane, like, gymnasts do stuff, or some guy preach about, like, how his ketogenic diet gave him, like, distended abs, and you're like, maybe it was the growth hormone. Yeah. But you know,
I love growth hormone, by the way.
Yeah.
So I did take growth hormone from 8th grade to senior year, but that's a whole nother story. I was growth hormone deficient, so I took it for a real reason. I don't think if I didn't take it, I probably would have been like 5'4" or 5'2". For quite a while, I was so quiet about it. I didn't want anyone knowing, because I felt like I was taking steroids. And as soon as I got to college, I think back and I'm like, I should have kept doing it, because I know how amazing it is.
Imagine how much more athletic you'd be right now. You'd be the super sponge.
But long story short, it's a fountain of youth. But really is what Ross is saying is we're getting so numb to seeing, you know, a lot of these posts, how outrageous they are and how crazy they are. There are a lot of great Instagram, you know, people out there, influencers. Yeah, I guess you would say. And the good thing is that you can find someone who's great, because they give away all their information for free. I think the best thing is someone who gives out as much as possible, someone who doesn't have a secret and they're not trying to get you to clickbait into it and try and buy into it. I think most of the people who are out there who are phenomenal are giving away everything for free. And if you believe in them, yes, they have stuff available that you can purchase. And, you know, we can go into quite a few if we want to believe it, if we want to talk about it. How do you guys feel? You want to?
Well, I don't want to call anybody out personally. They're out there.
Yeah.
But I want to give a couple examples for
what's good.
Well, a couple examples of how somebody can be so fooled by things. So, like I was saying earlier about how Scott can go months and months without working out. He will probably still be stronger than 90% of the people in the gym, and he'll probably still be more athletic than 90% of people in the gym. And That's Scott. That's his genetics. That's what he did since he was a little kid. Now, Scott can go on his Instagram post and he's an athletic guy and he can post video of him doing all this crazy athletic stuff. That doesn't mean that the next guy can go and do the same stuff. Mm-hmm. So I feel like a lot of that is happening where this is what I did to get in this kind of shape. Well, you're genetically gifted a little bit more than the other person. So people have to be educated a little bit more than that. An example of when it comes to diet, somebody that I will call out on this and talk about is Mike Dolce. Happens to be a guy that I really, really respect when it comes to his ideas about nutrition. And he does put up these Instagram posts and, he does the still shots and he'll just post a picture of his food and it will be very, very basic. But at the same time, he goes live pretty much every week and he will answer every single question from every single person that they put up. He will skim down the line. He doesn't skip over anybody. He will answer every single question. So now you have a guy who backs what he's saying and he will talk to you about it. He won't just put up a post and then, people disagree with it. He'll answer you. He'll tell you why he's putting up that post. He doesn't just put it up there. This is the way it's got to be. And you need to listen. He'll explain why it is what he's putting up.
Well, so many people in the social media world, they work off exclusivity. Mm-hmm. Like, you can't talk to me. I'm bigger than 100%. That. And the ultimate internet marketer is this guy, Gary Vee. Mm-hmm. He works his own Instagram. He'll answer you. You ask him a question, he'll answer you. And he probably has more people trying to reach out to him than anyone else. So when Dolce does that, he's not afraid to stand up for what he believes in, to educate people further, because he has nothing to hide.
Yeah.
When people don't do things like this, it does say something about who they are and what they believe in and how they're, they may just be wanting to sell you something, but don't want to actually communicate with you straight on. So I think that's one of the great things about social media is that it helps you connect with who you're trying to help. And it gives you so much more of a platform to do a better job at your, at what you want to accomplish in life. And that is to genuinely help people.
And do your research. When somebody provides information for you, I always want to check out their background. Like, is this somebody who he's telling me to do something, but are they doing it? Are they practicing what they preach? Or do they have a background of proof on what they're doing? So getting back to Mike Dolce is he talks about a certain diet, but he has proven results and it's basically 100%. I mean, he trains and does the nutrition for MMA fighters. He's never had a fighter not make weight for their fight. However, some of those same fighters who left him for whatever reason and tried to do it on their own eventually missed weight for fights, and underneath him never missed weight. So make sure that the person that whether you're reading a book from this person or you're listening to a podcast or whatever information they're giving you, that they have a test field, that they're not just preaching something that isn't practiced on themselves or somebody else. And they're not just throwing that out there.
Well, that goes to the whole Simon Sinek, people don't buy your product. They buy why you're doing it, and who you are. They buy you, essentially. So showing who you are and what you're all about is a big part of that. So, I mean, it's not a good or a bad thing. It's just what we have to deal with is social media does sometimes make it harder for trainers who really are committed to doing the right thing. It makes it sometimes harder for us because clients can come in and say, "Oh, I read this," and it's like, "Where'd you read it?"
Yeah, I get that.
And it's too. It makes for a crowd that's too reactive. There's not enough in detail information, and I'm sorry, you just cannot deliver a real message in a 30-second or even a 10-minute video. If you want to really learn about something, read the book on it. Commit a month of your life to saying, I want to learn how to do something better, and read a few books, watch some videos on it, talk to people that are experts in that field. And I got to tell you, the clients that I've had that have done the best are the clients that put faith in me to just take care of them and teach them the right way to do things.
But also, and also, if you are reading the book, background check the person who is writing the book.
Yeah, that's true.
You can read all the information you want. That doesn't make it gold. First thing,
I know where you're going with this.
This might be, might be vain in my perspective, but when I read or hear from somebody about any information from a book, first thing I do is look at pictures of the person online. I'll go and look, and I'll say, okay, well, he's preaching a diet to me. Let me go see what this guy looks like. Oh, look at that. He happens to be out of shape. I'm not taking any information from this guy. I'm sorry. He might be the smartest guy in the world. But if he's preaching to me an exercise routine or a diet and he's out of shape, I'm sorry. I can't do it.
I mean, that goes a lot of ways. I mean, look at your doctors, guys. You go to the doctor.
Yeah, 100%.
I get it. You might have been going to the same doctor since you were a kid or whatever it may be. But if your doctor is out of shape and is overweight and they're trying to tell you what to do about like feeling better, sometimes medicine is not the answer. And sometimes finding the right doctor is someone who, like Rich is saying, practices what they do preach. I mean, I have cardiologists for clients, and I couldn't believe they came in and told me they were doctors. And now they're in incredible shape. I mean, they've come and told me that, it's changed their whole outlook on how they practice. So I'd advise you guys, and whether you're reading a book or you're going to the doctor, make sure you're looking at, who these people are and what they look like. And, if they're exactly who they might say they are. Just because they have a bunch of accolades behind them doesn't mean that, they're practicing what they preach or they're doing the right thing on their own.
Well, they should share your belief system too. So if you believe that, it's more about preventing disease through diet and exercise and positive mindset and a healthy mindset. It doesn't always have to be positive. You can be in crappy moods every once in a while. It's
Sure.
Okay. It's normal. But keeping that right mindset and just being a good quality person, if you feel like, people around you that are giving you health advice don't share that, those values, then you need to surround yourself with different people. And let's get one thing straight. We're not telling you not to listen to your doctor. That's your personal choice, what you do and how you choose your physician. But, I know my doctor works out at the gym, so I'm very happy about that. And we work together to keep, my health, my personal health in order. And, that's an important thing. Rich, were there any other topics you want to talk about? Because I have one thing that I want to dive into.
I definitely do, and we are getting to that point where we're starting to run out of time. And I do want to get into the rants because we're going to start something new with the weekly rants. I tried to get one out of Ross last week; it didn't go so well, but I think I'm going to pull some out of both of these guys, and I'm going to rant myself. And every week we're going to throw out a little rant. But before we get off of the social media thing, I just want to talk to Scott really quick, and I might. I'm going to throw him out there really quick about a couple of questions, put him on the spot.
Okay.
But before I do that, I just want to ask him, how did you have a ton of followers. How does one go about that? So me and Ross are very, very stupid in this world of social media. How does one like me and Ross go from 400 followers on Instagram to 25,000 followers?
So that's a good question because I do want to dive back into it. And, when I first started on social media, I was like addicted to it. And to say I'm not still addicted to it, it's false. I'm just more into like interior design now for a house. But
if you didn't spend most of your time building your house by scratch,
yeah, exactly.
But
let's get back to when I first started social media. I was trying to find who was the best of the best, who had most followers and things like that. And, over the course of time, I realized that these people are posting pretty often. They're posting, 2-3 times a day. And whether it's good content or not, they were just getting their stuff out there. And what kind of caught fire for me was to just post as often as possible, 2-3 times a day, every single day. And the problem with that for me was that it was taking over. It was taking over my life. It felt like, I wasn't, paying attention to my real job. And once I started doing that, my real job and the money started coming in and I was doing well on the real job front. For social media, I think what what got me a lot of followers was, yes, I was trying to look cool in all my posts, and ideas were getting scarce, because if you're posting that often, I don't know how many more crazy things you could do. And something that rings in my head is that if I'm telling someone who's just starting out, who wants to create a big following, I would tell them to, yes, post as often as you want, give away all your information on your page, post all your content on your page, nothing is secret, and post often. Have somewhere in your bio to click into, so you have somewhere where they can go to find you, and make sure that everyone knows who you are. And that's not just online. It's just like, make sure everyone knows who you are on Facebook, at the gym, in your old high school. If people are thinking of, like, they haven't seen you in 10 years, but they still know that what you're doing, I think that's something that keeps people thinking back to you for social media, for fitness, I guess.
So I want to ask you, with getting all these followers, any assistance from these? They have these like robot.
Yeah, so they have tons. And when I first started, that was like, oh my God, I could just buy these followers.
And you partake?
When I first started, yeah, easily.
Okay. The reason why I'm asking is because I only started Instagram. People were on Instagram and Facebook long before me. I came on late. So when I didn't understand how the whole thing worked. Again, I'm an old bastard. So when I first got on Instagram, I would notice, like, I would get a follow, I'd follow back, and then, like, I would see that person unfollowed me. So when I first started Equinox, and I didn't know Scott all that well, I knew him enough. We weren't as close as we are now, but his Instagram, I don't know if it's you personally doing it or if it's these robots that do it, but followed you back along with Michelle, my fiance, and then, like, 2 days later, it gets unfollowed. I'm like, and then like maybe a month later, refollowed me and unfollowed me again. I'm like, look at this shit I was getting. I'm like, this fucking crap.
Yeah. So I mean, there's so many things out there that I tried, because I was just, I was trying anything. I was seeing what would stick. There are a lot of websites out there that you can put in, like, these tags and whatever you feel is, pertaining to what you want to do, or your area. I mean, you can hold it in pretty tight, and these bots will go around and follow and like and do all the sorts of things that maybe your page, you should be doing on your page anyway, but it takes up so much fucking time. It's ridiculous. And yes, they have that.
So what I learned, because I didn't actually even realize, I was always saying, I'm like, I don't understand what is this? What's the point of this? And I was told by people who are more into the whole thing that I guess it's like a cool status thing to have a lot of followers, but to not be following that many people. And I guess it makes you look cooler. Like, man, I don't have to follow all these people, but all these people want to follow me. So that's how it was explained to me. So now I know why when I get followed and then unfollowed, that I'm getting, it's probably being done by either.
It's all fake.
Yeah.
It's completely fake. And, even like some of the people who are good out there, they have those. It's just a lot to handle, because there's so many different things that involve Instagram or social media that you probably should be doing, but you don't have the time to do it.
I made it a rule now. Whenever I get followed by somebody, first thing I'll do is, even if it's something that I think looks kind of cool, like I get followed by a lot of fitness pages, and sometimes I'll look at the stuff and it's like, oh, it's actually pretty cool. Then I'll look, followed by 50,000, following 500. Well, negative. I'm not following that person.
Yeah, I mean, you could look who their followers are, and, like, if they look like real people, that's true. That's awesome, because you can click through and find out, like, all right, these are normal people. Or you'll click through and a lot of them are private, or they're just a name with, like, 6 numbers after them, and they're from
they'll have
Indonesia or China.
They have like 100,000 followers, but if you look on one of their pictures, there's like 57 likes.
Yeah.
I'm still old school. What is the actual etiquette on following people? Like, I could get a number from a girl in the gym, and and she'll follow me, and I'm like, am I supposed to follow?
I would say if they follow you, I would.
Is that creeping?
It's not creeping. If they follow you, you can definitely follow back.
But if they unfollow you, you unfollow them right back.
Yeah, okay. All right. Well, I don't know, especially like hitting on girls in the gym. I don't have much of a clue of that. But both of you guys do. Maybe you can tell me about it.
Yeah. Rossi's hitting on girls in the gym or the bar is pretty much how I am with social media.
But what I will say is that for me, Instagram, the algorithm has changed 50,000 times. It's really hard for someone who's trying to create a solid page to keep up with it. It's changed, same as Facebook. Facebook's algorithm has changed. And what I was getting back to is that if you want a good following, don't keep any secrets. Post as much content as you can, even if it's simple. Just get out there. Just make posts every day. Keep it going, and I think you'll do well. It takes people years to kind of build it up. So I'd say good luck with that.
I just want to touch on one more topic.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because as you guys,
don't forget, we're gonna rant too.
As you know, guys. Well, what I'm not gonna. Well, this is, I don't know. It's kind of a rant. Like
Okay. This could count as your rant for the week.
It's not.
I'll be the judge.
But it's not really a rant. It's I'm curious to ask you both. How do you pick up women in the gym? Because you guys could maybe share a little bit of the story. I talked to a girl on the floor. She's like, I don't want to train. Leave me alone. You guys hit on girls in the gym 2 years later. You're both engaged.
Well, see, Scotty's story is a little bit different than mine because he happened to be working with his. Mine just happened to be a member. But
there's not much difference there.
With my fiance and myself, it was actually, Rose, you were the one who introduced me. I had been it was my first night on the floor at Equinox, and you introduced me. You're like, oh, look at this girl. She works out every day. And I was like, oh, this girl she actually was deadlifting at the time, and she was all 5'1", 118 pounds of her, and she's deadlifting like 200 pounds. I'm like, oh, all right, cool.
And everyone knows, like, it doesn't matter if it's male or female. If Rich sees someone lifting right or looks good, he's gonna tell you. You look good.
I have no problem, male or female. I will walk up to anybody in the gym. Actually, I think I do it more often to guys, but I have no problem. I have no problem. I'm comfortable with myself. I will walk up to any guy. I will grab them and say, these arms are looking pretty good. What are you doing?
Look at those fucking calves.
Usually it's going to be the calves. Most of the time, I'm very jealous of guys' calves. Sometimes girls' calves too. But so Ross introduced me, and actually my fiance wouldn't even look at me. I think every time I asked her a question, she would look at Ross or Marco or whoever else it was. She wouldn't look at me. And, just from there, just giving her pointers on form and working out, and just from there became friends and so on. And Ross, just be yourself, buddy.
Yeah,
you're a good guy and you're fun. You got
I would tell you
just
this.
Be you, buddy.
For me, when I first started Equinox, like, I looked up to Ross so much. He was like the funniest fucking guy ever. We would go away on these Christmas buses into the city for the Equinox party, and like, he was running the show. He had a mic on the bus. Like, everyone was dying laughing, and then it started dying down. And I was like, this guy can literally talk to anyone. And that's all I'd say. I think you're thinking about it too much sometimes, and just go in there and just be yourself, like Rich said.
Just be you, buddy. Same with your rants. When you tell the story to us, not on the podcast, that's the story how it should be on the podcast. You are one funny motherfucker when you go on a rant, and that's the Ross I want ranting on this podcast.
Yeah.
Last week I tried to pull it out of you, but you weren't going.
I'm sure
you didn't want to take the bait.
Yeah, I promise you, I'll have some good rants.
Right.
I'm happy.
We're making there's going to be a segment each week called the Rossi Rant. Trust me, it's coming.
There is a segment that we're definitely gonna have, and maybe this week we can extend it to Scott. Like, last week, I went off on a gentleman who just didn't know how to work.
You didn't go off. You were very, very
I was
nice.
very nice and polite.
The story I heard in the gym was Rossi going off.
So the segment is called That Guy, or it could be That Girl. Okay. That person in the gym that just has no manners, has no clue what they're doing, and is, a little bit of an asshole. So
everybody's got to have one for the week. I'm sure we all. I have about 20. So everybody give one before we get out of here for the day.
Scott, do you have one in mind right now? And
no
names. No,
I don't like to throw anyone else under the bus, but let me think about it real quick. I'm sure if you guys have someone right now.
I have one right now.
I might be able to.
This is so 15 years ago, Paul Chek released a golf biomechanics book. And this golf biomechanics book was incredible, and it taught you all the corrective stretching, the mechanics of golf swing, and it went so in depth. And I said, oh, this is awesome. There's another great way to market myself. So I learned the book, memorized it, and I had some clients that were golfing, and I was like, oh, okay, this and that and the other thing. And they did okay. Maybe 5 years ago, I just said, you know what? I'm just going to train somebody. I'm going to make them stronger, make sure they have adequate flexibility, keep them loose, and just develop all the elements of conditioning. And if they say they want to train for golf, I'm kind of going to do the same thing. And I did. And anyone I have that golf said their golf game has improved. They drive further. Mm-hmm. They have better endurance. Their bodies are looser. Even with guys that are kind of tight, they've gotten better. So it's, everyone always thinks like, it's all about stretching and staying loose and just using bands because Tom Brady said so. So I just went with the whole strength solves everything mantra and make sure people have functional flexibility. And what does that mean? It means you can squat. It means you can touch your toes. It means you can just perform basic movements adequately and you can get stronger in them. So my rant of the week or that guy of the week is that guy in the gym with a beer gut, like a 50-inch beer gut that's super flexible and says, oh, I have a golf conditioning coach. Listen, guy. You're at risk for having a heart attack. And if you're overweight, you're basically putting yourself at risk for every major disease, obesity, type 2 diabetes. Lose the weight first and then worry about your stupid golf game. All right. So my rant for the week goes out to those guys that are chronically 50 pounds overweight and training for golf. Train for fucking life, dude. Get yourself in shape for life. If you have kids, you want to see those kids get married. Don't worry about your stupid, pretty little golf game. Lose the weight. Get yourself in shape. Get yourself strong. Don't worry about your flexibility and whether you can, do a cook chop or not, which is a functional exercise. Good exercise. But, maybe you should concern yourself more with about, throwing a burst, a little push, a little pull, a little squat. Right? A little burst, a little push, a little pull, a little deadlift.
Lose the fucking gut.
Yeah, lose the weight. And I say that with love, man. I really do say that with love because I've lost someone who is in that category. So I go off on these rants because I'm very passionate about what I do. And I do love everyone I come in contact with in the gym. And it just pains me to see people get distracted from what really needs to be done. Mm-hmm. And what really needs to be done is people need to just get their body fat down, get their conditioning up, keep that healthy mindset, eat the right food and exercise the right way, and not have little birds chirping in their ear from Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and their relatives. The relatives are always the best because they're a good authority for nutrition and diet. So anyway, that's my rant for the week.
I mean, that goes back to us as trainers making sure our clients will have goals. Yeah, I play this, I want to get better at that. But we know what our clients' goals really should be, and we got to keep that within our program. We got to make sure that's happening. If they get better, like Ross was saying, at what they wanted to do, great. That's a plus. If you're a person who doesn't train and, losing weight is not one of your priorities, but you're overweight and you just want to get better at whatever task that is, honestly, I guarantee if you lose that weight, you'll get much better at that task. Having extra weight on top of you. I know I just posted actually last night. I reposted it. Joe Rogan said, something about obesity, and he's saying people who are fat or overweight, and they talk about, I'm okay, I'm healthy, I'm doing good, I'm this and that and the other. You're just waiting, fit but fat. You're fit but fat, or you might think you're fit but fat. But what he's saying is you're compromised. Nothing in your body is at its prime, at its optimal, movement or optimal strength. You need to lose that weight, and once you do, you'll find out how much better you will feel.
Scott, don't take that microphone away. We're waiting. Here come. I want the rant.
My rant? Oh, my rant? All right. So this isn't like, this has nothing to do with anything, but there was this one kid like a few weeks ago. I think you were there. He must be taking some fucking fat burner or whatever it is, because this kid sweats. I'm talking, it looks like he jumped out of a fucking pool. And he sweats so much every time he's in the gym, and he's not even carrying a towel. So at Equinox, obviously, we have towels, so you're allowed to, you know, you can clean up after yourself. Just because it's the nicest, neatest fucking gym in the world doesn't mean we're entitled to clean up your shit. So this kid went over to the stretch mat and laid down, and it was pretty early. It was like 7 a.m. or whatever it was. And, you know, my client's looking at me, and he's seeing me look over to the side. He's like, what's going on? I'm like, this kid's going to get up, and he's not going to fucking clean after himself.
Oh, yeah. I wasn't there. You actually.
There's also a lesson in gym etiquette right here, so listen up.
So my client's cool, so he was like, all right, let's see what's going to happen. So he gets up, and he walks away. And I'm talking, there's a fucking puddle of his body, like a silhouette of his body on the mat. And he gets up and starts walking away. So I stood right in front of him. I get it. I'm at work. I can't do anything. Nothing's going to happen. And over the course of time, Rich and Ross, right, know me. I'm ready for anything. It doesn't matter. But I stood in front of this kid, and, you know, this kid looks like he owns the shit. He deserves everything. So I was like, yo, you gonna clean up after yourself? And he looked at me and took his headphones off, and he was like, what? I'm like, look at the fucking mat. There's a puddle of your sweat. He's like, yeah. I'm like, you gotta clean it. You can't just fucking walk away. No one's gonna clean it. No one's gonna lay on that right now. He's like, oh, okay. And then he walked away and cleaned it. But, you know, like Ross was saying, you gotta fucking clean up after yourself and put away your weights and this and that. And we can get into this with Marco. Marco doesn't clean.
Marco, you're getting called out, buddy.
It's okay. It's okay. We could throw Marco under the bus anytime.
Oh yeah,
but so this kid,
he takes it better than anybody.
Yeah, the same kid who left his sweat. He went on the treadmill. I'm talking. It was soaking wet with droplets of this kid's sweat. So next time I see him, I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm just going to step right in front of him and say, dude, you got to clean up your shit again. And you know what? If anything happens, I'll just go to the manager and probably get his ass kicked out. But
yeah, you're not going to get in trouble.
No. I mean, guys, if you're in the gym and you're excessively sweating, that's awesome. You're getting a great workout. Just make sure you're clean. The maintenance doesn't need to clean up your sweat. They're there to, you know, make sure everything's tip-top shape. But, you know, it's all about gym etiquette.
So, can I get 2 this week?
Yeah, Rich, you can do whatever you want. It's your name, you're Dickie of the.
All right, well, you know, I want to make sure. I have 2 because both, you know, they both happened this week, so they're both fresh on my mind. If I wait till next week, I'll have all new ones.
That was my head, by the way.
So, wow, Rossi, look at the feedback you got on that headband. So, my first one is about diet. My second one is about more gym etiquette. So, first one, Rossi was actually present for this. We had there was a ramper meeting this past week at Equinox, which is every week they have a class to educate the newer trainers on stuff, and it could be any type of topic. This week was on nutrition with Mike Majakis, who's fucking absolutely brilliant dude.
Genius.
He is. We're going to have him on this, and you guys. Actually, I don't even think for the hour Ross and I are going to even talk. We're just going to let him go. And you guys,
please, let's do it here, please. I want that.
Okay, we'll do. We can. I'm not even kidding. I always make this joke. I can hand him a piece of lint and tell him to talk about it. I guarantee you he can talk about it for an hour, tell you why it's there, how it got there, what it consists of, everything in the world. This guy is very, very smart. So he was doing the nutrition for the ramper meeting. And when we got done, I was speaking with his wife, Jess, and Ross happened to be there, and another trainer, Lori. And me and Jess were talking about how Mike believes in certain diets, but when it all comes down to it, he's actually has a lot of the same, but the basis behind what he's talking about is what I always preach is just start with proper eating and go from there. You know, he has a couple other things that he'll add to it, but that's the basis to it. So I was ranting in the gym to Jess about people need to stop getting so fucking confused with the diets and just eat proper. And one of the other trainers walked up and goes, well, here's the problem with that is our clients don't know what eating proper is. And as I was starting to rant on it, Ross actually from across the room came over, heard the same thing, and actually was saying the same thing as me. 2 points. One, part of our job as good trainers is to educate your client on what eating proper is. Secondly, I find that very fucking hard to believe. I don't believe that people don't know how to eat properly. I think people don't want to eat properly. If you show them, you put in front of them a tomato and a donut and ask them which is the healthy choice, they know which is the healthy choice. The problem is they prefer the donut. So don't let people think that they're so fucking stupid, because they're not. People know what they should be eating. The problem is that they don't want to eat the healthy choice. They want to eat the bad for you choice. So that's my food rant. Ross, if you want to add, because you happen to be there for that one.
I'm gonna let it just be yours.
Okay.
I have. I'll probably go too long.
My gym etiquette, gym rant is this happened, I don't know, Tuesday or Wednesday of this week. But anyway, happened to be an empty day in the gym. It was maybe around 4 or 5 o'clock. And I don't know, Jewish holidays, was that this week? I don't know what was going on, but
2 weeks ago.
The gym happened to be really, really empty. So I was working out and I just finished, and I'm cleaning up my stuff, and I noticed that there was a guy. We have 3 benches that are right next to each other. We have a flat bench, we have an incline bench, and we have a decline bench. So this guy had 135 set up on all 3 benches.
No.
He was doing sets going between the 3. So I'm watching him, and I'm doing my workout, and I'm watching him, I'm doing my workout. And now, as I'm cleaning up to finish my workout, he walks away and he walks over to the other side of the gym and he starts doing leg presses. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to be cleaning up for a little while here. I'm going to get my stuff together. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm not going to go over and say anything yet, but I'll wait a couple minutes. Maybe he'll go back over there. So now like 10 minutes goes by and he's off the leg press and he's somewhere else. So the weights are still on the leg press and the 135 is still on all 3 of the benches. So I walked over and I just very, very nicely, I said to the guy, hey, are you done with those 3 benches? And he said, yeah. I said, okay, well, part of being done is putting back your plates.
No.
Yeah.
Wow, great.
So the problem is this. I have no problem talking to anybody about cleaning up, but we also have to make sure that we're not, we walk a fine line. We don't want any member to go back and complain to
of course,
managers that, I was rude to him, which I wasn't. I talked very, very nicely, but
people sometimes take it the wrong way.
Sometimes people take it the wrong way, and I'm very, very open to admit that if people take things the wrong way and come at me, I might go a little crazy and rant a little bit. But anyway, so he tells me he's done. I told him part of being done is putting your plates away, and he looked at me with a straight face and he said, "I've been working out for 25 years. I've never heard that before."
Where has he been working?
So okay. So I said to him, I said, you've been working out for 25 years. And he said, yes. I said, really? He said, in no gym you ever trained at, you were told to put your plates back and you never heard that you're supposed to put your plates back? And he said, no. And
oh God, that would,
I actually looked at him for a second. I couldn't believe that he said it. And I said, well, what's that?
You should have said, well, here we do that.
I actually looked at him over and I said, well, if you've been working out for 25 years, maybe you're not working out hard enough. Which maybe I shouldn't have said, but at the same time, I couldn't believe the response. I know he knows he's supposed to put it back. He was just trying to come at me, and I couldn't have been any nicer about it. But he actually ended up putting his stuff back, but I did see him rolling his eyes at me as he was doing it. So there's my gym rant for the week.
Well, that's perfect. I mean, I would have said this something similar, but I can't believe someone like that would just. I've never heard anything. I mean, there's other gyms where there's signs that say put your plates away. There's other gyms where it says that. That's pretty outrageous. I can't believe that happened.
Yeah, well, there's going to be more of it. We'll have before our podcast each week, I'm sure we're going to have about 20 more experiences like this and other ones, because we always, working in the gym world, you always seem to see all kinds of stuff. I have probably about another 60, 70, 80 more of these bad boys that I can throw back on anytime, and we'll go on. I'll throw them out as the weeks go in case I ever run out of information on them.
I don't think that would ever be possible. We're never going to run out of content.
No, not when it comes to rants for me.
Scott, thank you so much for joining us
buddy,
in this
appreciate
podcast. I'm Scott, a man so cool that not only does he have a jet ski, but he built the dock it's attached to. These hands, he could use that line for himself. He's building this house, keeping his arms and upper body in order. Occasionally, we see him do some squats in the gym. He's educating Equinox, making better trainers. I'm even, this is pretty cool. They're revamping their nutrition program a little bit, and in about 10 days or next 2 weeks.
12th,
yeah, 2 weeks. I'm going to be taking one of his classes where they're going to be do re-education with the whole nutrition program. So I'm pretty excited about that. That'll be a lot of fun. So thank you so much, Scott, for joining us. This was a great podcast, our longest one. I think this is our best one.
Longest one. We're over the hour mark. And Scott, I also want to say thank you so much, not only for being our first guest, but also for helping us get this thing together. Because if it wasn't for you, Ross and I would still be talking about doing a podcast, but we had no clue on actually how to do it. So I thank you for being on the show, and I thank you for helping us make the show.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. I'm super honored that you've asked me to be your first guest. I'm always here for technical difficulties to help you guys out.
There will be a lot more
guys,
like when we have to go and post this thing.
Well, I'll help you post it right after this. And I'll be looking forward to my next podcast.
Yeah, we'll have you on again. All right, until next time, guys. What's our motto, Rossi?
I don't know. Stay strong, work hard, deadlift, and remember, strength solves everything.
So. Those are actually pretty much right on the money. But guys, eat proper, chart, and get your results. Until next time, guys.
Awesome. Phenom.
That was awesome. Get strong, deadlift.